Namaskar. Getting back to assisting again and when we teach. When you get off your mat, the first thing you want to do is home in on the person who has the most unsafe posture in the room. It's one of those things where, for example, if I have someone really close to me and they need a minute adjustment, it's tempting to stay with who's in front of me and ignore the people who are in the corners. That happens a lot. A lot of great teachers, what they do is they don't look at who's in the corners. Some classes actually, depending on how a class is made, don't always go with straight lines. For example, there's one class I teach where it's a rectangular formation, and the people in the class, I should say that it's a rectangular room, and the people in the class, what they do is they position themselves in a half circle, and then another half circle where everyone is staggered out. So each one of them can see me, and I can see each one of them. When we assist most of the time, or when we should be assisting, that's when it would be tempting for us, for example, doing revolved triangle, doing a triangle, turning away from your students, ignore what they're doing just for a second and do the form yourself, because after all, we have to demonstrate, right? You demonstrate so that your students can see you, and even when you demonstrate, you should still see them. If you find yourself at a position, this is when you should be walking around the room. This is the time when you take your eyes off your students, when they're most likely to be out of alignment. The other point is, as far as safety, the person who has the worst form, as I mentioned before, somebody who's going to fall over on the person next to them, that's the person who needs the most assistance. Another point too is that when you adjust anyone and you go over to them and you talk to them and say, may I make this assist, or so forth, or you've gotten their permission before class and so on, that your posture is solid. So your spine should be straight. Your legs should be either something like in goddess pose, where you're down into a lower stance, but not as low as a squat, and you're centered. Or something like a lunge, or something like your feet are in a position how they would be, for example, in Warrior 1 or Warrior 2, something where you're grounded. Because you want to be in a solid position when you adjust somebody. Something where you can have some give and take. The duration of your assist depends on your student and depends on how many times have I adjusted this student. Is this the first time I've helped this person out, or is this the 10th time I've worked with them? So for example, it would be nice if, say we'll pick on Joe today. Joe's in the front row. He has the worst alignment in the entire room. It would be nice if I spent 5 minutes with Joe while everybody else is trying to do their best to stay in that same posture. But then what happens is they don't reap any benefits. They don't get an assist, or they don't get any input as to what they're doing. So you have to split it up. You have to split it up. Even though I'd like to concentrate on Joe most of the time, I have to move around. And it's one of those things where the duration of the assist depends on how steady are they, and if they're steady, can I walk away, and this is another point, can I leave gradually? So for example, if I've held someone in position, and now it's not exactly a balancing posture, so no, we're not talking the person's up on one leg. We're talking about, say for example, somebody's in triangle, and it's taken me a little while to get this person in the right position. Let's say I spent 30 seconds on this person, or 1 minute. Now what happens is I have to leave, and I have to leave gradually.